everyone. We're going to learn some more about the brain. If you've already watched the video with Chloe and the NERB, you learned about the brain. And one of the things that I find interesting is that there's so many different parts to the brain. In our morning circles, we've been talking about 3 different parts to the brain, and we called them our wise owl, our scrapbook, and our guard dog. Well, they have other names too. Like the wise owl is called the prefrontal cortex, or the scrapbook is also called the hippocampus, and the guard dog is also called the amygdala. So the prefrontal cortex, or wise owl, scrapbook, hippocampus, or guard dog, and amygdala. So those are 3 parts of the brain. When you watched that video, you heard 3 different parts that we haven't talked about yet. Now, they actually had 4 parts, but we'll really focus on 3 of those parts that they talked about in the video. And we'll talk about those today, and we'll see where they are in your brain. And we'll talk about what they do. So what you'll need is, oh, that's really hard to see. The light is shining like I'm crazy. You need your brain book. There you go. You need your brain book and 3 different colored crayons, okay? I chose orange, blue, and green. So if you want to do the same as me to really follow along, you should get orange, blue, and green. But if you want to pick other colors, that's fine too. So you need 3 colors and your brain book, okay? And that's what we'll use to learn more about those parts of the brain. So go ahead and pause me, get those supplies, and I'll meet you back. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, see you in a sec. Okay, so to get started, on the front of this book, you need to put your name on the line down here. It says The Brain by, and I'm going to write Becky. Okay, so put your name on your book. Okay, then we're ready to get going. So this book has these flaps that open up. And when you open it up all the way, it looks like this. Okay? So you can see, I'll kind of try and show you it from higher up. Okay, it looks like that when it's opened up all the way. For now, you want to take the bottom flap and fold it up. Okay, so we're going to be working on this brain. And then we'll also open it up and color in this brain some. Okay? Okay, so we are going to start by talking about the cerebrum. And in our video, that was the very biggest part of the brain. Okay? Do you remember what the cerebrum helps us do? The cerebrum is this big part. So pick a color. I'm going to use blue, and we'll color in the cerebrum. As we're coloring it in, let's talk about what it does. Does anyone remember what the cerebrum does? Now, let me give you a hint. The cerebrum is this whole big part. In the cerebrum are different parts, like our guard dog, like our memory book, like our wise owl. Those are all parts of the cerebrum. If we were to say, let's talk about some of the things that are in the cerebrum. Those parts are all in the cerebrum. So the wise owl part of our cerebrum, what does that help us do? That's up here in the front. What does that help us do? Right? Think, solve problems, do math, move around. The memory keeper, the scrapbook, the hippocampus, helps us remember things, right? And then our amygdala, our guard dog, helps us stay safe and helps with feelings, right? All of our big feelings. So this big part of our brain helps us move our muscles. It helps us problem solve, remember things, have experienced feelings. That's the cerebrum, okay? So we're going to color it here, and I chose to color it blue. And then I want you to open it up to this part too and also color it in blue. Okay, so let's color it. And you don't want to color it really dark, because if you color it in and it's too dark, it'll be hard to see those dots, which we'll use next time we have theme. Okay, but so for today, go ahead and just Let's finish coloring in the cerebrum. Okay, this is the biggest part. So this one is the part that'll take the longest, the cerebrum. Okay, color it in. Oh, and there's one thing I forgot to have you do on the front page. So this is the word cerebrum right here. The C is making an S sound in this word, cerebrum. We're going to draw a line from this word to the cerebrum, which is the part we just colored. So draw a line over to the cerebrum. There. Okay. If you're not finished coloring your cerebrum, go ahead and pause me and take a little bit of time to color it. Okay. Now let's talk about the brainstem. I'm going to color my brainstem green, and it's just this little part right here. It connects the brain to the spine. Okay. This part of our brain, so you can color it here and color it on the other brain too. This part of our brain helps us with involuntary movement. Now that means movement that we don't really think about. Okay. So if you want to run, usually you think about that, like you're going to run, or if you're going to pick up your crayon. Those are things you're deciding to do. Or you're deciding to go for a run, or you're deciding to pick up your crayon. You're telling your muscles what to do. So that's your cerebrum. But do you have to think to blink your eyes, or do your eyes just blink? They just blink, don't they? I don't have to think all day long. Blink, blink, blink. My eyes are just blinking. Do I have to think all day long for my heart to beat? Do I have to say, okay, heart, beat. Okay, heart, beat again. No, it just beats, doesn't it? How about for my food to digest and move through my body? Do I have to think about that, or does my body just take care of it? Yeah, your body just takes care of that. What about when we do mindful breathing? We do think about breathing, but the rest of the day when you're doing things, do you have to think about breathing, or does your body just do it on its own? Yeah, our bodies, we're lucky. Our bodies just do it, right? Our bodies just breathe. So these are all things that really help us stay alive. And the brainstem is in charge of those. The brainstem is also in charge of our sleep, so it helps us sleep. So let's draw a line from the word brainstem over to the brainstem. Okay, so we should have colored it here and color it the same color inside here. It's your brainstem. Okay, the next one is a really cool word, cerebellum. And that's this part of the brain. So I'm coloring mine orange, but you might have a different color for yours. Here's my cerebellum. I'm coloring it in orange. Now this part of our brain is responsible for balance and movement. Yeah, so that's what those are the jobs of the cerebellum. Help us with balance and movement. So I'm going to draw a line here from cerebellum over to this part of our brain. And let's open it up and color it in here. Okay. There we go. And those are the parts that we're talking about today. So let's see if we can remember the names of them. The cerebrum, let's say that. Cerebrum. Brainstem. Brainstem. Cerebellum. Cerebellum. So those three parts all have important jobs. This helps us with those things that help us stay alive, like heartbeats and blinking and digesting food, breathing. Cerebellum is balance and movement. And our cerebrum, this big part, helps us with thinking and problem solving, experiencing feelings. All those kinds of things come from our cerebrum. Okay, so you should have this brain colored and the lines drawn, and this brain colored just the same way as you colored this one. Okay, thanks for learning about the brain with me today. Next time we have theme, we'll keep working on this book, and it's going to be pretty neat because we'll learn where these different things happen in our brain. Like, where does sight come from? What part of our brain? Where does smell come from? Or thinking, problem solving, or speech? Okay, so we'll learn where these things come from in our brain. So that'll be pretty neat. We'll have that to look forward to. Okay, so Oh, before we leave, one more question. I know we've talked about this before, but let's just see if you remember. If you had to say in one sentence what the brain does for our body, what would you say it does? It does so many different things, right? So many things. Do you think we could be alive without a brain? Not really, right? If we didn't have a brain, there'd be nothing to tell our body what to do or to keep it alive. Yeah, our brain is the control center of our body, right? The brain is the control center for our body. Isn't that neat? You could think of like a control panel on a robot where you could program in what you want the robot to do. Right? Beep, 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 beep. And our brain is the control center for our body. It's like the boss of your body, the brain. Okay, so that's it for today. You can fold up the flaps of your book. And when we have theme again on Thursday, you'll get this book back out and we'll finish it up. Okay, thanks for working on that with me.